Welcome back. An advisor to Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei threatening a wider war and calling for the U.S. to unfreeze billions in Iranian assets. This as the U.S. and Iran have been exchanging strikes overnight. Here to react, this so-called test of trust is Fox News senior strategic analyst and chairman of the Institute for the Study of War, four-star General Jack Keane. General, thank you for being here. Obviously, this is going on and on for weeks now. The president has demonstrated great patience to try and get this deal. I want to play for you a soundbite we're hearing now from a military advisor to the Supreme Leader about the negotiations. Here's what that advisor had to say. Listen here.
This is a sign of trust building. If Trump takes the negotiations seriously, $24 billion is not much to America. If he wants to reach an agreement with Iran, this $24 billion is a test of trust that Iran wants to have with Trump. This is a test that America must pass, and the path will be opened. This is our own money, not America's money.
Well, I think that leader there has his head literally in the wrong place. He thinks this is some kind of arbitration, where each side is going to make concessions to get to a common point. That's not what this is about. I mean, President Trump brought us, the first president in almost 50 years, brought it to this consequential point to take Iran off the map as a predator to its neighbors in the region and to worldwide sponsor of terrorism. Once and for all, we're going to stop the killing that they've imposed on others and they've imposed on their own people. That was generally the objective of Epic Fury. And President Trump stopped it after they shut down the Straits of Hormuz because they appeared to use that as a negotiating lever to make a deal. And they said that they would open the Straits in 2 weeks, and they never did. And we are here in negotiations trying to work something out. We have the naval blockade, which is creating economic peril, along with the very long list of things that Secretary Bessent and his outstanding economic team is doing to impose economic pressure on Iran. So those are our leverage points. But what we're trying to achieve in the negotiations is pretty simple. We want our maximalist demands that we would achieve if we were using military force. That is what we want from the regime. We don't intend to throw them a lifeline and unfreeze frozen assets to them and give them billions of dollars so that they can recover, reverse the tenets and implementation of the deal and go back to where they were. Who do they think they're talking to? Are we fools? That's not who we are. What President Trump is insisting on, I'm offering you something. You give me what I'm trying to achieve through military force and economic pressure, or I return to military force. That's the deal that's on the table. What this government official is talking about is something quite different. We're not conducting an arbitration between a labor union and a business firm here, and we try to work something out equitably. That's not what this is about. This is meet our objectives without having to impose more military force on you or not. So that's kind of the impasse we have.
So, General, this has been going on for 8 weeks now. The president showing great patience here. And even I was at the White House this week. The president was talking about if this deal gets signed, some of the details would include Iran allowing the U.S. to go in and get that so-called nuclear dust that's near bomb grade enriched to 60%. But yet, as this drags on, are you concerned that we are headed down a path that's going to lead to renew the fighting?
Well, I think we're pretty close to one or the other right now. And I think we'll probably in a couple of days get an answer. It seems to me that the administration is at a point where they have run out of strategic patience. They have given Iran lots of rope here over the, as you noted, 8 weeks we have been at this. And I think the Iranians' intention is not as earnest as their negotiators indicate to our negotiators. I think where the leaders who are actually controlling the regime is drag this thing out as far as possible, get closer to the midterm elections in the United States, because then they believe the likelihood of the president pulling the trigger and going back to combat operations are slim to none. That, I think, is their, I don't buy that. I don't think they have miscalculated what President Trump was before. Remember, Griff, for our audience, prior to the 12-day war, he went into a 60-day negotiating clock with this same regime over the same issues we're discussing now. And they didn't fulfill that 60-day clock. They were not willing to make a deal. On the 61st day, he green-lighted the 12-day war that began with Israel attacking Iran for the first time in its history.